There's a lie we're taught early, that love means always being available, always saying yes, always showing up even when you're falling apart. But here's the truth. You can love people and still need space. You can care deeply and still say no. It doesn't make you selfish. It makes you human. You're not a bad person for needing rest. You're not heartless for not answering every call. You're not cold for protecting your peace. But we forget that, especially if we grew up as the helper, the fixer, the one who was praised for being low maintenance, the one who never made a fuss, the one who stayed quiet to keep the peace, the one who thought love meant being less of a burden. Let me tell you about Lisa. Lisa is the strong one, the one who always says, "I've got it." She works full-time. She checks in with her mom every night. She helps her friends move, even when her back is sore. She answers texts within 5 minutes, no matter what. Even when she's tired. Even when she's sick. Even when she hasn't slept in days. Because deep down, Lisa is scared. Scared that if she's not useful, she's not lovable. Scared that if she doesn't show up, she'll be forgotten. Scared that space equals abandonment. So she keeps giving, giving beyond her limits, saying yes when she means no, smiling when she wants to cry, until one day, her body says no for her. She collapses at work. The doctor says burnout, but it's more than that. It's boundary starvation. Her soul is empty, because she's been feeding everyone but herself. Here's what we don't talk about. Being everything for everyone leaves nothing for you. People say, "You're so strong. You're such a good friend. You're always there." But what they don't see is the quiet ache in your chest, the exhaustion behind your smile, the fear that if you stop, you'll lose everyone. So you keep going, keep pleasing, keep abandoning yourself. But boundaries? Boundaries are not rejection. They are protection. They say, "I love you, but I love me too." They say, "I can't be everything, and that's okay." They say, "I matter, even when I rest." You are allowed to say, "I'm not available right now. I need time. I need silence. I need to not carry your emotions today." That's not cruelty, that's clarity. And when you start setting boundaries, something strange happens. The people who love the real you start adjusting, start respecting, start asking, "Are you okay?" instead of just assuming you'll always be there. The ones who only loved your obedience, they may leave. And that's okay too, because the cost of keeping them was losing yourself. Here's a practice. Before you say yes, pause. Ask yourself, do I have the energy for this? Am I saying yes out of love or fear? Will this decision leave me resentful later? If the answer is fear, it's okay to say no. No is a sentence. No is sacred. No is not mean. No is medicine. You were not born to be convenient. You were not born to be liked at the expense of your truth. You were not born to be a 24/7 support system. You were born to be whole, to be honest, to be soft and strong and sovereign. Carl Jung once said, "Individuation is the process of becoming who you are truly meant to be." But how can you become who you're meant to be if you're always shape-shifting to become what others need? Boundaries are not just about protecting your time. They're about protecting your becoming. Your becoming is sacred, and it needs space. Lisa learned that. In recovery, she started small. She put her phone on Do Not Disturb after 9 p.m. She stopped apologizing when she said no. She started listening to her body, not her guilt. And slowly she came back to life. She didn't lose her friends. She just lost the illusion that she had to be everything to be loved. So if you're tired, not just physically tired, but soul tired, ask yourself, Who am I always showing up for? And when was the last time I showed up for me? Because sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is step back and whisper to yourself, I matter too. We're afraid of boundaries because we think they'll push people away. We think saying no is mean, that asking for space is cold, that standing up for ourselves is selfish. But what if boundaries don't break connection? What if they protect it? Most people imagine boundaries like brick walls, thick, unmovable, shutting everyone out. But that's not what real boundaries are. Real boundaries are bridges, not walls. They don't separate us. They define us. They say, this is where I end and where you begin. Without boundaries, there is no clarity. And without clarity, there can be no true closeness. Because here's the truth. If people don't know your limits, they will cross them. Even if they love you. Even if they don't mean to. Not because they're bad, but because you never showed them the line. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus grew up in a loud family. A family where emotions exploded. Where silence meant punishment. Where love was dramatic, but inconsistent. So he learned to keep people happy. To smooth over tension. To say, it's okay even when it wasn't. In relationships he gave everything. Time, money, attention. Even when it hurt. Even when he felt taken for granted. Because in his mind, saying no meant losing love. Then one day, he got into a relationship that looked perfect on the outside. But inside, he felt invisible. His partner didn't ask, they expected. Didn't listen, they assumed. Didn't give, they just took. But Marcus never spoke up. He smiled. He adapted. He tolerated. Until he couldn't. He snapped. Left the relationship without warning. And cried for weeks. Not just because of the breakup, but because of what he'd lost along the way. His sense of self. That's what happens without boundaries. You disappear slowly. Until one day you look in the mirror. And don't recognize yourself. Setting a boundary is not pushing someone away. It's giving them a chance to meet the real you. Not the version that always says yes. Not the version that never needs anything. But the honest, full version of who you are. Boundaries sound like this. I'm not okay with that. I need some time to myself tonight. Please don't raise your voice at me. I'm not available for that right now. It's not about being harsh. It's about being clear. Because unclear boundaries breed resentment. And resentment is the silent killer of relationships. You don't leave people because you hate them. You leave because you stopped feeling safe. And safety requires honesty. Carl Jung said, individuation is the process of becoming who you are truly meant to be. You cannot become who you're meant to be. If your life is shaped entirely by what others expect from you, you can't grow. When you're constantly shrinking to fit into someone else's comfort zone. Marcus learned this the hard way. In therapy, he realized something. He never gave people the chance to respect him because he never told them what he needed. He assumed they'd know. He hoped they'd guess. But people can't respect boundaries. They don't even know exist. So he started small. When his coworker asked for a last-minute favor, he said, I can't do that today, but I can help tomorrow. When his mom asked why he hadn't called, he said, I needed a quiet weekend to recharge. When his new partner asked why he was quiet, he said, I need time to process, not because I'm mad, but because I care. And to his surprise, people responded with understanding. Not everyone, but the right ones did. Here's the secret no one tells you. The people who truly love you want to know how to love you better. And they can't do that if you never tell them where it hurts. Boundaries teach people how to love you well. They say, this is what respect looks like to me. This is what care feels like in my world. If you've always been the giver, this will feel wrong at first, like you're being difficult, like you're disappointing people. But discomfort doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're growing. You are not responsible for managing everyone's emotions. You are responsible for being honest about your own. So if you're feeling resentful, ask yourself, have I expressed my limits? Or have I just hoped they'd figure it out? If you're exhausted, ask yourself, am I actually tired or just boundary deprived? If you feel distant from people, ask yourself, have I let them get close to the real me or just the version who never says no? Boundaries create space for honesty, and honesty is the soil where real connection grows. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be real. Real people need space, need quiet, need to feel respected. And when they speak that truth, they don't lose love. They invite it to deepen. So the next time you hesitate, the next time you feel that guilt rising, remember, boundaries are not barriers. They are invitations. They say, if you want to be close to me, here's how. If you want to stay in my life, here's what I need. It's not rejection. It's guidance. And the people who are meant for you will meet you there, at the bridge, not the wall. We don't burn out from doing too much. We burn out from doing too much that isn't true to us, from saying yes when our soul is screaming no, from overextending because we think love must be earned, from abandoning ourselves to keep someone else comfortable. This kind of exhaustion isn't physical, it's emotional, and it's invisible, until one day you break. You think you're being helpful, kind, flexible, but what you're really doing is teaching people that your needs don't matter. You're showing them that you'll always say yes, even when it costs you peace, even when it costs you joy, even when it costs you you. Let me tell you about Lena. She was known as the go-to person, at work, at home, in every friendship. Need a favor? Ask Lena. Need a last-minute shift covered? Ask Lena. Need someone to drop everything and listen? Lena's your girl. She wore the label like a badge. Reliable, responsible, selfless, but inside, she was crumbling. Lena hadn't slept well in months. She started snapping at people she loved, and she couldn't understand why. She wasn't angry. She was empty, because she had become a shell of who she used to be. That's the price of overaccommodation. You lose pieces of yourself, one yes at a time. Yes to work emails at midnight. Yes to favors you can't afford to give. Yes to conversations that drain you. Yes to plans you didn't want to make, until your life is no longer your own. It's just a schedule of other people's needs. Saying yes is easy, especially when you've been conditioned to believe that saying no is rude, or selfish, or cold. But here's the truth. Every time you say yes, you are saying no to something else. Your rest, your peace, your priorities, your dreams. Carl Jung said, individuation is the process of becoming who you are truly meant to be, but you cannot become if you are always available for who others want you to be. You can't become if you're constantly adjusting, shrinking, pleasing, until there's nothing left to grow. You don't need to be everything for everyone. You just need to be true to you. And that means learning to pause, to ask, do I really want this? Do I have the capacity for this? Am I saying yes out of love or out of fear? Fear of disappointing, fear of confrontation, fear of being unloved. That's what keeps the yes machine going. But love built on sacrifice isn't love, it's performance. Let's go back to Lena. The moment her life changed wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a burnout breakdown or a hospital visit. It was something quieter, more honest. Her friend asked her to help plan a weekend trip, and Lena paused, felt the familiar guilt, the pull to say of course. But instead, she said, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I need this weekend to rest. The silence that followed was uncomfortable. Her friend seemed disappointed, but nothing exploded, and something strange happened. Lena felt free. That one no unlocked 1,000 yes, to herself, to sleep, to peace, to writing again, to being present in her own life. The people who love you may not understand at first, especially if you've always said yes, but the ones who stay will grow with you and learn to love the real you, the one who honors her needs, the one who doesn't overgive to be seen. Boundaries aren't just about others. They're about you. They protect your time, your energy, your purpose, because saying yes all the time isn't generosity, it's self-erasure. And eventually, you'll disappear. Here's a mantra: if it costs me my peace, it's too expensive. And another: I'm allowed to disappoint others. If it means being honest with myself. You don't owe everyone access to you. You don't owe everyone a yes, especially when that yes becomes a no. To your own well-being, saying no is not rejection, it's direction. It's redirection, back to what matters. So ask yourself, what have you been saying yes to that doesn't align with your soul? And what could your life look like if you started saying yes only to what truly felt right? That's not selfish, that's sacred. Because when you stop betraying yourself, you stop resenting others. And when you stop overgiving, you finally start receiving, not just from others, but from yourself, from your own energy, from your own truth. Let your no be a full sentence. Let your yes be intentional. Let your presence be a choice, not an obligation. Because when you say yes to everything, you say no to yourself, and you deserve better than that. You replay the conversation again, and again, and again. What you said, what they said, what you should have said. You scroll through messages, reading between lines that were never meant to be decoded. Your chest feels tight, your thoughts race, but you tell yourself, I'm just being aware. I'm just trying to understand. No, you're trying to feel safe in a situation that made you feel powerless. Overthinking feels productive, but it's a trap, look, that never brings peace. Your brain thinks it's helping, trying to make sense, trying to find closure, trying to prepare for every outcome, so you don't get hurt again. But the truth is, you're not thinking, you're hiding. Hiding from hurt, hiding from truth, hiding from the fact that some people won't meet you halfway, that some conversations won't bring clarity, that some love was never love at all. Carl Jung said, you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. You say you want peace, but you keep choosing worry. You say you want healing, but you keep picking the wound. Let me tell you about Arjun. He was ghosted by someone he thought he'd marry. One day they were planning a trip. The next, silence. No fight, no explanation, just a vanished presence. And so, Arjun began the loop. Maybe she got scared. Maybe I said something wrong. Maybe if I reach out again, I'll finally understand. He read every old message, like scripture, analyzing the timing of replies, looking for answers that weren't there. Days became weeks, weeks became months. He stopped sleeping, stopped eating well, stopped laughing, not because she left, but because he stayed inside the story, inside the loop. That's what overthinking does. It convinces you that if you just think harder, you'll solve it, you'll fix it, you'll understand. But healing doesn't always come from understanding. Sometimes it comes from surrender. There is no perfect thought that will make it make sense. There is no secret message hidden in their silence. Sometimes silence is the message, and sometimes the loop is not about them. It's about you. Your nervous system is stuck. Your brain is still trying to do something, because doing nothing feels unsafe. This is where boundaries come in, not with others, but with your mind. You can't stop the first thought, but you can stop the spiral. You can say, I've thought about this already. I don't need to go back there again. Your thoughts are not instructions. They're just habits. And if your habit is anxiety, then overthinking is just anxiety, wearing a costume, pretending to be awareness. But awareness brings peace. Overthinking steals it. You are not healing if you're just reliving. You are not growing if you're just replaying. You are not aware if all you feel is fear. Let me tell you what Arjun finally did. He wrote her a letter, not to send, but to release. He wrote everything he wanted to say, everything he wanted to understand. Then he burned it, watched it disappear, smoke rising, Symbolic, simple, necessary. Closure didn't come from her. It came from him, from his decision to stop trying to solve what had already ended. That's the moment healing begins. When you accept that some chapters end without explanations, and some questions are better left unanswered. Anxiety will tell you to think. Peace will tell you to let go. Choose peace, even when it feels like surrender, because it's not weakness, it's wisdom. Here's your reminder. You don't have to respond to every thought. Not every question deserves your energy. Not every silence needs to be filled. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is tell your mind, enough. We're not going there again. And if you feel guilty for letting go, ask yourself this: what is holding on given you? Sleepless nights? Tight chests? Lost time? Now ask, what could letting go give you? Clarity, freedom, self-respect, peace. You are not meant to live in a loop. You are meant to live in the present. So close the tab, put down the phone, step out of the memory, and back into your life. When you stop chasing answers, you find peace, not because everything makes sense, but because it finally doesn't have to. There's a lie many of us carry, that boundaries are cold, that saying no is selfish, that asking for space means you don't care. But here's the truth: boundaries are not rejection, they're protection, not just for you, but for the relationship itself. Think of it like this: a house without walls isn't open, it's exposed. A garden without a fence isn't welcoming, it's vulnerable to being trampled. A life without boundaries isn't compassionate, it's chaotic. We're taught to confuse love with sacrifice, to believe that giving more, staying longer, saying yes always, makes us better partners, better friends, better humans. But love without limits becomes self-erasure. Carl Jung said, "Individuation is the process of becoming who you are truly meant to be." But you can't become who you are if you're constantly dissolving into who others want you to be. Boundaries are how you hold on to yourself. Let me tell you about Sophia. She was known as the easy one, the friend who always said yes, the girlfriend who never complained, the daughter who never asked for help. People loved her, but not always for the right reasons. They loved how easy she made things, how she didn't make a fuss, how she adjusted herself for everyone except herself. Sophia started waking up tired, even when she got enough sleep, started resenting the people she loved, even though they hadn't done anything wrong. But something was wrong. She was living outside her own limits and calling it kindness. One day her body said what her mouth never had. She started getting panic attacks, sudden tears, tight chest, numbness. Her body was screaming the truth. There is no peace in being constantly available. So she did something radical. She started saying, "Let me get back to you," instead of yes. She muted group chats. She stopped pretending she had no needs. At first, she felt guilt, so much guilt, the guilt of choosing herself, after years of defaulting to others. But that guilt was just conditioning leaving her body. Because here's the paradox: when you set real boundaries, the right people don't leave, they lean in. The ones who love you, not for what you do, but for who you are. They stay, they adjust, they grow with you. The wrong ones? Yes, some may leave, some may call you selfish, difficult, too much, but those are just people who benefited from your lack of boundaries. Boundaries are not punishments, they are invitations. Invitations to relate with respect, with clarity, with mutual care. You don't need to scream your limits, you just need to honor them. Because when you respect your own line, you teach others to do the same. It's not your job to explain every no, to justify every need, to apologize for your preferences. You're not being mean, you're being clear. And clarity is a kindness. We think love means being open all the time. But real love has structure, and boundaries are the bones of that structure. They say, I want connection, but not at the cost of my sanity. I want to give, but not until I'm empty. I want to be close, but not lose myself in the process. You can be loving and firm, available and discerning, caring and protective. Let me tell you what happened to Sophia. After she stopped being the easy one, some people pulled away. That hurt, but it also revealed the truth. She wasn't loved for her. She was loved for her compliance. And as that old crowd faded, a new one formed, one that asked her what she wanted, one that respected her no, one that didn't make her earn love through silence. Because that's what boundaries do. They filter out noise, so you can make space for what's real. So if you're scared to set boundaries, scared you'll lose people, scared you'll disappoint them, remember this. Losing people who don't respect your limits isn't loss, it's alignment. The right relationships are not threatened by boundaries, they are strengthened by them. Because only where there is respect can real love grow. You are not hard to love, you're just no longer easy to use. And that shift might change your whole life.